live.
Both of them?
No, I'm gonna do. Okay.
Good to roll?
Ready to roll? No. Scott Spears is here.
Alright.
And P. Riz.
So big.
Alright, you good.
Alright guys, we're starting our first night of the online trade show, virtual trade show. Tonight we're going to be focusing on AIDERS and all the different ways to climb with the steps in conjunction with AIDERS. We're here in the shop. This is our first year with everything made in-house, all metal products manufactured here. So yeah, we just actually brought a new line of AIDERS to the website. They're made by Backwoods Mobile Gear. We have 2-step AIDERS, 3-step AIDERS, attachable, detachable. It's everything we're going to go through tonight. Then tomorrow night and Thursday, we're going to kind of do the same thing, 7 o'clock. Both platforms will be going through. Tomorrow night will be platform configurations and the actual setup. And then Thursday, we're going to focus on everything with the saddle, how you incorporate the saddle into climbing, everything about the saddle, how to use it, shooting positions, relaxing positions, and so everything involved in there. But definitely tune in and send us some questions, anything you guys have. I got Lydia behind the camera, Sister Lydia, so she'll help out with questions. But yeah, I guess we can start. All right, so the first,
Tell them about the sale.
oh yeah, and there is a sale going on right now, 20% off everything store-wide. Coupon code, just enter LiveWild24. I'll give you 20% off everything. We just got these on the website today. These are again made by Backwoods Mobile Gear, made in USA company out of Ohio. And Mike was cool enough to work with me. And we're selling, he's had these out, he's been in business for quite a few years. And these are tried and true, super quality. This is your 2-step S-hook aider. So your detachable aider, meaning you bring it up with you as you climb. So you only need one. And it works great with the steps. I can get just as high with these as I can with the knaider swader. We'll go over that as well. But again, this, very simple S-hook, hooks to the step right there. You can hook it there or at the bottom V. Hooking it on the bar just gives you more foot room. And then this elastic you just attach right to your saddle. And then as you're climbing, you just bring it right up with you. We can demonstrate using these a little bit. So the cool part is, so basically the whole point of AIDERS is you're using less steps or less sticks. So basically, normally to get 20-25 feet, I'm using 8 steps without AIDERS. And that's also, remember, that's 5 to climb, 2 for my platform, and 1 to hold all my gear. But with the AIDERS now, my 3rd step, with a 3-step aider or the knaider swader, my 3rd step could be 25 to 30 feet. So you're instantly shrinking your size of your pack. So, you know, first step, comfortably, you can have this as high as you can comfortably reach. Snap the step on it. And again, this will be attached to your saddle. Be keeping your lines in line loose, and then just climbing right up.
Do you want to show it with the lines in line? And
I'll throw that on, and then, you know, clearly the 3-step aider, you're gonna be starting your first step pretty high, just about at head level. So that's about where I'd be doing my first step with an aider swader as well. Throw a line on it. is the 2-step. And then this can just be attached either to your lines and loop or anywhere on your saddle. Keep my lines in line pretty loose. Keep my toes against the tree. Just pick it up. And then my next step's up here at 12 feet, top of garage door height. So second step at 12 feet. And on the way down, same thing. Just drop it.
Pete said, don't forget some of us fat 50-year-olds can't climb like a spider monkey. That's why you carry 10 steps.
That's right. Yeah, so that's always been my biggest thing with the AIDERS are great. You can see how the advantage is obviously you're losing a lot of steps, you're gaining a lot of height, lightweight, faster, but it is a lot easier to just climb with more steps. Just have the hand holds, comfortable climb. So I'll even find myself later in the season carrying more steps for an easier climb.
When you have more clothes on.
Yeah. So there's the gist on the removable AIDERS or detachable AIDERS. The S hook, you just keep volleying them up. Very simple. And then we also have single, double, and 3-step fixed AIDERS. So these just stay attached to the step. They have a loop on them, and the cool thing, the quality of these, there's a double loop, so they don't wear out. There is a lifetime guarantee on these. So same thing, your step would go here, wherever it's comfortable, and these you would just have on every step. So next step would have this, and just pull it out. I'd wrap it up right in the bag. And I just tie the loop right over the AIDER itself. Just like that.
Got tips for coming back down?
Yeah, just hold on. Keep your lines in line loose. I could show you. Actually, I grab a duck to make it easier. Yeah, I always keep my line super loose and just adjusting it on the fly, really. So I'd start my climb, my prusik pretty high. I mean, my lines in line. And sometimes I'll hold my lines in line like this. You could hold the step, you could hold your line, you could hold the tree. But, obviously for the first step, you hold the step, get my foot in there, and then I like to just use the rope. It's like that. A lot of people forget that you can use your lines in line like this. You can use it, with your hands. You can keep it loose. So, coming down, I'll use the lines in line again. And the biggest thing is I get it right in the arch of my foot and then stick my toe right against the tree. So again, a lot easier just to climb with more steps, but you're saving a lot of time and weight. So that's your double step. We also have the 3-step fixed AIDERS as well, and the singles. Very simple. So there's your single. And then the triple. So your first step is head height again.
Where can you find them?
Right on the website under ropes and lines, or accessories are right there. Or ropes and lines they'll be under. And those are all also 20% off this week. Today, tomorrow, and Thursday.
What's the code?
The code is LiveWild24. And then now I'm going to show you guys my favorite. This came out years ago. I forget the guy that came out with it, but really cool dude. It's called the knaider swader. If you know saddle hunting, most people know this. So you have a knee hook, which is your knaider, and then your hip hook, which is your swader. So one goes on the right foot, one goes on the left foot. These aren't on the website yet, but you can find them at backwoodsmobilegear.com.
Can't see your feet.
That's coming. All right, so knaider, swader, knee hook, and then hip hook, whatever you want to call it. So my first step, start from scratch. So basically my first step is going to be as high as I can get this hook right here. And then I'm going to attach my knee to it. So this fully adjustable, I might actually make it a little longer of a step. So again, this is how guys are getting 30 feet with 3 steps. So that's carrying 2.5 pounds of climbing gear to get 30 feet. So here's my first step. Up there. Then my knee. Then my next step. I keep volleying up, so my next step is here at about 11, 12 feet. Now the way down, it's just a reverse knee hook. And the reason I like the knaider swader over the movable AIDERS is I feel like I'm a lot more locked to the tree, a lot more stable. But you know, that's personal preference. You do have to be, you know, a little bit of a monkey to use this, but the beauty is you can, just like the steps, with knaider swader, you can adjust it so your first step can be whatever's comfortable for you. But really cool. You know, I'd walk in, put this on at the base of the tree, and there's my first step. Always, for me, it's always, you know, right at, basically at my neck, top of chest. But there's also, I always call it, we joke that it, Drew's AIDERS is called the half pull-up method. So what I would do is, I have a step way up here, and then the next step as high as I can reach. Set this down a little bit. And I show guys this at trade shows that are agile or fit, showing that you don't always need AIDERS, but they are nice to have. So my half pull-up method, again, keep my lines in line super loose, put against a tree, and just pull myself up. That's the beauty about the steps. We say it's a lever and a tensioner. So that's your anchor point right there, and we'll get more into this when we discuss the platforms and setting up in the saddle of how we use it to anchor with the bridge. You know, an anchor point is supposed to be rated to 2,000 pounds, which this step is rated 2,600 pounds with the tensile strength of the rope. So there is your legit anchor point. So that's the beauty about using something like all these AIDERS, swaiders. It's just, you can get screaming high with little to no steps.
Oops. And you can knaider, you don't have to swaider.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing. You don't, actually Lydia does this a lot, you don't need to use both, you can use just the knee, just the knaider. So basically, instead of having your first step, foot and a half, 2 feet off the ground, your first step's here at 3.5 feet, 4 feet, whatever you can hook your knee to. You know, so I'd put a step here, maybe a step up with my head, hook my knee.
And it's basically you're using every other step that you normally would.
And that's the cool part is you have, you know, with the step you have such a solid anchor hooking to the bar, and then also having handholds no matter where you grab it. And so that was the gist of AIDERS. There's also, you know, a little cheat that I do as well, is especially on my first 2 steps always have 8-foot ropes. These are 6-foot ropes. So a little bit, 2 foot more rope right here. I tie the same exact knot on the other side. Now I have a built-in aider. So you're just stepping in that loop right there. So an 8-foot rope would be longer. So you can maximize your height that way. But
How would you go about choosing which one you like best? Or like who would like which one more than another?
I'd say that that's definitely, it's such personal preference. I always think about like someone like my dad. He would totally get into, you know, the fixed AIDERS. So having his first, you don't have to do it on every step is a thing too. So say on your first step, first or second step, you put an aider on, you're saving 3-4 steps right there. So I feel like, you know, an older guy totally feel comfortable doing that, but there's something about people don't feel comfortable with AIDERS once you get past that 10, 15 foot mark. So you can always have the aider on the first step. The disadvantage is then you have an aider that's swaying around on your step. You can tuck it in on the way up. I would shove it right in the step. The beauty about this, you're bringing it up with you. So when I climb, I would always take the ropes, if they'll reach around, tuck it in that way, or just make a loop. So I never have anything swaying in the wind. So that's the beauty about this, you're bringing it with you. And again, you can climb basically just as high with this as you can with the knaider swader. I just feel a little bit more comfortable with knaider swader. But there's nothing saying that this one will work just as good.
And how well do the fixed AIDERS pack in the step bag?
They pack right in with the ropes. So what I would do is I would just flip them around and pack them right in like that. Or you can put them on at the tree, but I'd leave them right on like this. Stuff it right in the bag, coil it up with the ropes. I can post some pictures of that. So you get in, put the step on, flip it around, attach right to the tree. So that's the beauty. The fixed aider does keep it out. You know, you don't have, the fixed aider is going to be your most stable aider because you don't have the sway of just a single attachment. You're attached to both points here on each side. So it is super stable. So anybody worried about stability or not being a monkey, the fixed AIDERS are, in my mind, the way to go. They're super solid.
Caterpillar says, when will they be available?
They're on the website right now. Just put them on this morning. All these AIDERS, except the knaider swader, isn't on the site yet. But all your fixed and detachable AIDERS are online now.
Mike says, I've got 16 of your steps and they're awesome, and I use the aider and swader. They work good.
Awesome.
And Matthew says, I'm running the single step aider I bought from you 5-6 years ago.
Yep, I just put those back online too. Actually, I'm gonna grab one to show.
So while Drew just stepped off camera, just remember that we're running a sale today, tomorrow, and Thursday. Ends Thursday at midnight. you can go to wildedging.com. All these aiders are available for purchase, 20% off with the code LiveWild24. And thank you guys for joining us for the virtual trade show. Drew ran a couple trade shows this year, got to get out and shake hands and meet some of you guys. So it's nice to be able to, whoa, don't trip.
Oh, sorry.
Wait.
Oh, that's what I'm pulling. All right, found it.
And he's back.
All right, this is an aider that we had out years ago, and I did take it off the market because guys were using it incorrectly. There is a correct way to use this aider. I will show you. All right. It's so long. So I put my first step about mid. So this was in response, I forget his name, but he said he has our old single step aider. So I would hook it up here. And this is an adjustable aider. It's basically a giant Chinese finger trap. The problem is guys were grabbing the end of the rope and heaving it up, pulling their leg up the correct way. Pick your leg up, adjust the rope, adjust your aider, and then you step in. So I would have that step a little lower actually, or just adjust it a little bit higher. So that's its beauty. It's fully adjustable. I get up to this step. Now I can take this step, move it up, and it's basically the same as the movable aider. I would just bring it up with me. Same S hook, but this has a keeper on it. I'll just clip to the next step. You can clip to the bottom of the V as well if you're worried about it sliding.
Can you show that on the lower step?
What's that?
Show that on the lower step, like where you can clip it.
Yeah. Oh, this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so right here, you can clip it right to the middle of the bar. And people always worry about sliding. The best thing that works is just run 2 pieces of hockey tape, or guys will zip tie, run a zip tie on each side, and then hockey tape over that, or any kind of tape, just to keep the hook from moving. But in reality, once you put your weight on it, I don't find it's gonna move. Or if you get your step on correctly, actually give some nut into it, cam it over, I'll even put it on the side of the step, any aider. And I'm not worried about it slipping out because I cammed it nice and tight. So fully adjustable. So this way. And back. Volley yourself up. So very simple, very light. Just when used correctly, it works awesome.
Adventure Seeker wants to know if you've tried using the climbing atrium.
Yes. Yeah, so that
with the step.
Basically what he's talking about. Basically an atria, I think that's how you say it, it's pretty much the same thing as this. So you have your ladder system. They make 4 or 5 step atrias. That's how guys are getting like 30 feet with 2 steps. So on your tippy toes, putting the step as high as you can reach. There are 4, 5, 6 step in the climbing world. I think they call them atrias, and then we're calling them aiders. So I recommend no more than 3 steps. Once you get to the 4, 5, 6, it gets super sketchy. 3 is plenty.
Nikki Beck wants to know, why is it incorrect to use the single aider to pull your foot up with your single aider?
Oh, just because it'll burn the rope out. So this is a polypropylene rope, same rope as the steps. And guys, instead of running it through the hook here and pulling up to adjust this loop, guys were putting their foot in and heaving down on this end, which was just burning. It was just rope on rope burning itself through. So when used correctly, attach it to the step. Let's see down here. Put your foot in, pick your foot up, adjust it, and then step in it.
Bob Grimley says, hi from PA. I bought steps from Mr. Step years ago and have since added your original single line adjustable aider and other Wild Edge gear. So glad to hear your in-house fab now. Congrats.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, we're super proud. It's been, for 8 years we've had the steps sourced all around the U.S. and it was always a full-time job keeping inventory and really just never being super proud of the quality, knowing that we have the capabilities, and that was the whole point of building this shop, was to bring everything in-house. So we finally did it, and this will be our first full season going through it. I had a little speed bump last year. I broke my ankle right in the start of the season, so this year we're cranking. We're making everything in-house, so it's been fun. There's a lot more pride in the product now, making it here. And that was also a dream of Jim Steps when we started, was making everything in-house. We finally got there.
Caterpillar, how easy is it to climb down with your aider? With the
adjustable aider?
Adjustable aider.
Yep. It's basically, it'd be the same as this. You're just volleying it down. So you're going to reach down. You're going to cover a lot more distance, a lot more height. You're going to gain a lot more height with these removable aiders. Whereas this one, you're basically skipping every other step. So step here, step here to get up to here, and then I could also move that step up as I go. Where this, I'd be starting here already. So yeah, coming down, same thing. You're just volleying, keeping your loop big. I would slide my foot in and step in it.
He wants to know if they're heavy enough to not sway in the wind.
Well, it depends how windy it is. So these aiders you're bringing up with you, so you're not worrying about it swaying in the wind. When you get to the top of the tree, you're just packing this little thing back in your pack. Whereas the fixed aiders, so here's your fixed aiders. I mean, they're not bad, but if you're worried about them swaying in the wind, I would climb up. You always pick it up. I would shove it right back in the step. Like down. That's what I was talking. I always put my foot on the outside of the webbing and step into it. Put your toe against the tree. I mean, it's really basic stuff. It's just whatever you're comfortable with. It's the biggest thing.
Here's a classic. Zoe wants to know, any tips on attaching the step to the pine tree when the bark is soft? I can never get mine to hold tight to the tree.
All right. So this is an oak. A lot stronger bark than a pine, but with a pine or any tree with bigger, thicker bark or softer bark like a pine, you're going to want to get your step, find the tension, cam it over, and then as you punch through the bark, you're going to uncam it, take a little bit more tension, a little bit more slack out, pick it up right above those two notches that you just made in the tree, and then cam it over again. So you're just going to have to get it in there. If it's giant thick bark, sometimes I'll just scrape a little bit away right in the spot, find a good contact point. So the biggest thing is just getting your equal tension on both sides of the standoff. So with thicker bark, you're going to want to move it, before I cam it over, I might move it to the right or left, a couple inches or half an inch, quarter inch, just to find exactly where those standoffs are going to contact equally and have equal pressure. So I'll keep moving it around, and then I feel where it's going to bite, and then I'll feel the tension. If I need to take a little bit out, I push a little bit more. But the biggest key is just keep working that step up until you feel it bite, and then cam it over. So if you're worried about not being able to get them tight enough, so I always say put it on the tree, around your head, neck height, so that if you really need to get it in there, just get that equal tension, and then just drop your body weight into it, and you can get it screaming tight. So again, just equal contact is the biggest thing. No matter if you're climbing a metal pole or a pine tree, you always need that equal contact. If there's one that's contacted more, it'll punch in, the other one won't, and it may slip a little bit. But yeah, just get it right in there. Cam it over, punch through the bark, uncam it, take a little slack out, work that step up back into those holes and cam it over.
Show the angle when you uncam of how the standoffs are like in line with the back of the rope, how you pick up the standoffs.
Yeah, that's another big, so I always say pull the step up above the rope. That means I'm pulling these standoffs up basically in line with the rope. So I'll pull that up and create that cam. So if it's a little bit too much, I just push out, maybe I just pushed out 1/8 of an inch, a slack there. Everyone's biggest problem is they adjust too much. So small adjustments, and then picking that step up way above, as high as you can go above that rope, but then still be able to create a cam. You have a lever and a tensioner. You got to get the tension right and the lever dialed in on the tree, and you'll feel it where it's about to go over center. So now when you cam it correctly, your rope is actually parallel to the ground, so flat. If you were too low, your step's going to want to bounce up. So I'm not even going to adjust the tension. I'm just going to bring it up higher and cam it over. So equal pressure, small adjustments, and really, picking that step up and biting into the tree, feeling where you can cam it over.
We got a bunch of people just joined us. Do you want to just remind them what we're doing here and what's going on?
Yeah, guys, thanks for tuning in. We did this a couple years ago, had some good success. A lot of guys love tuning back into rewatching this. We'll launch it on YouTube. A lot of good refreshers before the season, but we're doing a sale, 20% off store wide. We're going over tonight everything. We just went through all our AIDERS, detachable to attached to the fixed AIDERS to detachable AIDERS, 2-step, 3-step, and then the knaider swader. Yeah, we're gearing up. I always tell guys this is the best time to buy. We're fully stocked. It gets a little hectic around here during the season, but now's the time to buy, learn. Any questions you guys have, that's the whole point of this. Just throw out some questions. Anything about the products, how we're climbing. I just went over everything about AIDERS. It's very simple. It's all about what you're comfortable with. You can get screaming high, but if you can't do it in a hunting situation, it's kind of useless. So I always tell guys to remember that. Not everybody's an Olympic athlete, so no reason to climb like a squirrel, but just do what's comfortable for you and what works. So we just went through all the AIDERS. Tomorrow night we're going to be going through platforms, all our different platforms, platform configurations from ring of steps to platforms, and a lot of it is how I use the steps. We focused a lot at the trade shows. Well, we educate so much at the shows, and that's why I'm doing this. Just the simple fact of how to set up in the tree. So climbing to me is so simple. Like, that should just be keep it simple, stupid, following our motto. Climbing a tree should be simple. Killing deer is the complicated part, but a lot of guys don't focus on how important it is once you get set up to have everything dialed in. And that's my biggest thing. I can climb the tree in 40 different ways, but once I get to my hunting height, I do the same configuration every time because that's what I'm comfortable with, and I know I can move and be confident in my moves in the tree. So having a platform and then a step on each side, to me, is it's unbeatable. I use them like stirrups. I can get locked into a position. The whole point of being able to shoot 360 around the tree is to be able to move 360 around the tree. If you're just stuck on one stationary platform, it's hard to get all the way around. And you can by going on the back of a platform, but then you have a tree that's so close. So my method is the farther I can get away from the tree, the more mobility I have, the more shot opportunity I have, the more shit dies. So having the steps around the tree, I can still stay away from the tree and maneuver around. Same thing with AIDERS. I was saying keep the lines in line loose, because I always want to stay away from the tree. Guys get uncomfortable or when they're uncomfortable climbing, they try to stay too close to the tree and you can't move. Same thing with saddle hunting. By lengthening your tether, I put my tether way above my head, and that's all my tree buddies, tree climbers, that's what they do, and that's how I learned, and I still do that, where everybody, the industry standard is put your tether at forehead height, but then you don't have maneuverability around the tree. That's great if you're on a tiny tree, but I put mine way above my head so that I can go and shoot 360 completely around the tree. Same thing with climbing with lines in line. I'm staying away from the tree so I can bend and move as I climb.
Awesome. What are the easiest ways to replace the ropes when they wear out? Kevin Anderson wants to know.
Right on our website, we sell replacement ropes. They come with a splicing fid. They're really easy. They come with instructions, a splicing fid, and the ropes. And really, it's just you're splicing the long end through, all the way through itself, and then you're popping the tail end back into the rope. So it's really easy. There's also videos on it. So super simple, right on the website, and that the ropes last forever. But if you're using, if you're my one mobile set, I'll go through a set of ropes every year or two. I'll just replace them. It's your life. It's your lifeline. Same thing with your tether, your lines and lines. Guys don't understand how to treat rope correctly. When we were growing up rock climbing, my dad had a log book of when he used it, the weather conditions, how much moisture it got, everything, and he dried the ropes. People don't understand you got to take care of your ropes too. Inspect them. Look at the sewn eye loop. Make sure everything's good. Make sure it's covered, has a sheath. Same thing with your step ropes. Just look at them. But they stand up to weather. But yeah, right on the website. Easy to do.
Nick says, can you show how to use the step for a gear hanger or other ideas to use it? Also explain why your beard isn't as glorious as Nick's. Yep.
What was the question?
How to use the step.
Yeah, distracted with the beard. Oh,
Multiple ways to use the step.
Yeah, we'll dial into that tomorrow. That'll be a lot what I'm focusing on tomorrow, but if you picture, I had a platform right here. I'm at climbing height. This is my extra step that I always count when people ask how many steps I take. Even with the knaider swader, I'm still taking minimum 7. I'll bring 8, rather have it not need it. This step is so important to me, not just for gear, but we also call it the oh shit grip. So when it's always right here, I attach my bow hanger to the back side of the rope. It just hooks on, and the step cams over and keeps my bow on my left side because I'm a righty. Backpack hooks right to the step. So everybody uses, a cinch strap and hangs all their gizmos and gadgets off it, but in my mind, that's just a strap. You can't do anything else with it. The step's more than just a climbing system. That's where I say it's my oh shit grip, it's my everything. So backpack's clipped here to the carabiner, and I use it as I'm setting up. I'll show tomorrow how to hang my backpack before I put my platform on and rappel down. So this one step is holding my bow, my backpack, kidney belt gets strapped around the tree. I now have a full knee pad, almost all the way around the tree because the kidney belt has pads on as well. I love running a pack with a kidney belt. I wouldn't go without it. That's another advantage. So backpack, and really my pack's mainly holding my extra layers, my outer layers, my water. I'll hang my rangefinder right here on the step. Binoculars go in the step. Water bottle's in my bag. Quiver comes off my bow. I shoot with it off my bow. Hangs on the back of the tree right here. Easily accessible. So this one step is holding everything I need. And if I ever get into a spot and I need a handle, I got a step right there. So we'll go over that tomorrow, but really cool. And I started doing that. I've been doing it forever, and every gear hanger and every gizmo we tried to come up with, you just can't beat something that you can actually use.
So this is a good question, and you'll probably cover it tomorrow, but Nikki says, how do you stretch out the height with your last step and still get onto your platform? I've been using a ring of steps for my platform.
Yep, so that's all going to be, again, personal preference, but I actually ran into that. So that's when I tell people you got to practice. So that's a very important factor. Yeah, we will go over that tomorrow, but if you're used to climbing without aiders, and then all of a sudden you throw in an aider, and you're going to set up your platform, it definitely changes everything. But if you're using a ring of steps, you'd use it the same. Just keep hooking to the steps. You can hook any of these aiders with the S-hook to your platform as well. But I'll show tomorrow how I set up my last step at climbing height, or what I think will be climbing height. I get up, I set it, say it's right here on the floor, I'll get up there, and if I'm mobily hunting, I'm not trimming shooting lane, so I'm looking, making sure I'm at the correct height. Do I have to go up a couple feet, down a couple of feet? If I'm solid there, I put my gear hanger step on, backpack comes off, I'm attached to a step or with my lines and belt, tether goes on, I rappel down, take my platform off my bag, and put it on, and then I take a step and put it on each side of the platform. So that one step is basically my little lookout to make sure everything's good. Then I zip down and assemble a platform, whether it's a ring of steps or a platform in 2 steps.
So in other words, you're not climbing up onto your platform, you're climbing up and then setting up your platform.
So I don't ever blindly climb up, put my platform up, jump up on it and make sure everything's good, because most of the time there's going to be that one limb, those couple limbs, or it's all about the shooting lane. So I'll jump up, make sure everything's good, even in the dark, just let your eyes adjust or whip the flashlight out real quick, make sure everything's good. But yeah, last step, jump on it, because then I can jump down and adjust it if I have to go up or down. So the platform never goes on until I jump up, make sure everything's kosher, and I'm good.
And the other thing to consider is your last step before your platform can be close to your platform. It doesn't have to be 3 feet away from it.
Absolutely. So if my last step is right here, my platform a lot of times could be here, or I'll grab that step and use it in conjunction with my platform. But yeah, I always use a comfortable climb. Say if it's a preset and I have my ring of steps, my transition step will always be nice and close. But mobily hunting, with the way I attach my tether and then I rappel down, that kind of solves all that for me.
Do you want to sum up the different kind of aiders one more time? And then if you have any more questions before we wrap up, just throw them in. We'll see what we can cover before the top of the hour.
So fixed aiders, meaning they just slide right on the steps. You got double loops, slide it right on the steps. Attached climb. It's very, very stable because of the 2 anchor points. We have 2 single, double, and triple step. On the website right now is a double and triple, or 2 and 3 steps. And then you have your adjustable aiders or movable, whatever you want to call it. So basically, this is a 3-step aider right here. Your first step could be as high as that, and you're stepping back. And you're just stepping right up the ladder. And as you get up, this is attached to your saddle. You never drop it, and you can volley it up to the next step. So this is how you're getting 30 feet with 3 steps. 25. And then so you have your double, triple, or 2 and 3 step. And then you have the knaider swader as well, and our adjustable aider. I prefer the knaider swader for my climbing style, but I just feel a lot more stable on it. The beauty about knaider swader, you can also do just the knee. That's the knaider, and just hooking your knee, so you're going a little lower, but there's so many options. These are super awesome because obviously you only need one and you're moving them up with you. The advantage of the fixed aiders is basically they're on, you don't have to use them for every step, or you could have a single on every step. But the beauty about those is they're super solid and they're right on the steps. And a lot of guys will use them, just for the first or second step. You don't have to use them all the way up. The beauty about this, you're bringing it up with you and it packs away nice and small. I just find the knaider swader being really stable. So again, your hook hip, and picture that step as if it's not there. Your hip, and then your knee hook. So that's how you're getting super high. And again, I like it because I feel like it's stable.
It's just remembering to pick your knee up.
Yeah.
I missed this one by Chad Goebel. How are the fixed aiders attached to the step? And is this something you offer?
Yep, they're on the website. So here's your fixed aiders. This is a 2-step. So they have really nice double loops on them. And then your castration bands. So you're just going to loop them right over the standoffs. And then you have the bungee on here to keep the form. So I loop it right on there. And then to pack them away, I just loop them back in with the ropes. They coil up nice and neat. As you get to the tree, just flip it over. Just like that. So very simple. You can put it on at the tree as you climb, or you just leave them on, pack them in the bag. Very simple. There's a double, a triple, and there also is little singles. Again, that's by Backwoods Mobile Gear.
Available on our site?
Yes. Yep. Good?
Yeah.
Any other questions?
No?
All right, thanks to everyone for tuning in. If you have any more questions, shoot us an email, give us a call. Happy to talk to anybody about the options aiders. There's so many ways to climb, but I always say do whatever is comfortable for you. You're gonna find that it's just aiders are a funny thing where they can be awesome, but I always say going up is super easy, it's coming down that's the challenging part. So that's why I don't suggest anything over a 3-step aider. 3 is getting you screaming high. The knaider swader is getting you screaming high, but again, you can go with just the knee hook. But the beauty about the steps is it's all customizable, right? So it's whatever's comfortable for you, that's your spacing with the steps. It's a solid anchor. So again, don't overthink it. Just do what you think will work great for you. And again, you don't have to use the aider the whole, and say you're climbing 20 feet, you don't have to use all 20 feet. Use it for the first couple, save yourself. It is awesome too I attach my cameras to a step. So I like to get them up 10, 12 feet so they're out of visibility of people and deer as well. So all I need to bring with me is I'd bring a 3-step aider. I put a step up above my head. I can jump up there, and then I can put my camera easily at that 10, 12 foot mark, and I only have to bring 2 steps in the aider. Yeah, so aiders are really cool. They can save you a lot of time. You can go screaming fast, but just do what works for you. Yeah, we have full line of aiders on our website, and we have the sale going on for everything in the store, 20% off, Live Wild 24. So tomorrow we're going to go through a lot more of the platform configurations, everything about setting up. I always say the most important thing to me with all saddle hunting, climbing the tree is so easy, and there's so many different ways to do it. Keep that simple, whether you're using more steps, less steps. The steps are just awesome because they're the strongest anchor that you're going to have climbing a tree. They're unbelievably strong. That's what makes them so safe, so many ways to grab. But I'm going to show tomorrow how I incorporate. I always say my steps aren't just a climbing system. They're my climbing system, my platform, my gear hanger, my oh shit grip. They're everything. So the way I set up in the tree to me is the most important way. So I can scream up a tree blindfold, upside down, underwater, but once I get to my platform height, I'm taking a lot more time. So I could climb in seconds, but once I get to platform height, I'm taking minutes to set up, taking my time. I want my platform steps I want my whole platform system to be super solid, so I'll take more time getting those babies cranked in and solid. And then how I'm attaching my gear, my backpack, so everything, it's place for everything, and everything goes in its place when I'm climbing. So I want to get to the tree and just start climbing. There's no taking stuff off and digging stuff out and setting up because I'm sneaking into a spot. I want to be stealthy and stay stealthy. So I get to the tree. The only thing that would happen is I would just grab my steps off my back, around my shoulder if it was a long walk, and I start climbing. So in my right hip, I'll show you how my backpack's all laid out. everything, my gear hanger is in my pocket, always in the same pocket. So when I get to the spot, my transition of taking my bow off my saddle, I climb with my bow hanging off my saddle. When I go to that transition, I always want my bow hanger in the same spot, so I'm not monkey fucking around trying to find it, because that'll make me sweat, that'll make me lose my temper, and when you start sweating and getting frustrated, that's when you start making noise and shit starts going sour. So everything's always in the same place. I'm never fiddling around looking for stuff, and every way I basically set up the same way in the tree every time. Once I'm at climbing height, I'll climb a different way all the time, but at climbing height, I always set up the same way, so nothing's ever foreign to me. It's always bow, binoculars, rangefinder. I know where everything is just by feel. When I'm climbing, I don't use a headlamp because I know where everything is, and just climb silent. So it's slow as smooth, smooth as fast. That's where I'll just take my time once I get up there, and I'll go through that tomorrow. And then Thursday we'll dive down, you know, how I incorporate the saddle. I always call it my tool belt. Saddle's my tool belt, and my backpack's my toolbox. So my tool belt, how I'm using it, why this saddle, why I have these giant gear loops, and how I use them, why I always have extra carabiners hanging off my saddle. I use the saddle like it's another climbing system as I'm climbing, and how I, you know, instead how I climb with one rope, one lines in line, which becomes my tether instead of having doubles where I attach my bridge. I always have a step on my saddle. And I always have a step in conjunction with my climb somewhere in reach. So I just attach right to a step. So I'm anchored in. There's my 2,600 pound anchor and my bridge. So anchored in, I can work at this station, I can switch, I can go around the limb, I can detach my lines in line, make it my tether, clip back in, unclip. So I always have 2 anchor points. So having that is huge. So I'll show how I use the steps in conjunction and how I use them climbing, you know, stuff you can never do with a stick. A stick's made for one thing, and that's for climbing. There's the only thing you can do with a stick. With the steps, I'll show you how I use it in the whole system and why they all make so much sense. Why they make so much sense in the climbing situation, just all the different variables you can use them for. And, you know, I've gotten into pinches where you forget the bracket for your camera arm, so I've used the step to anchor the camera arm to the tree. There's so many ways you can use them, so that's tomorrow.
What time?
7 o'clock
Eastern
Standard Time. So yeah, tune in tomorrow. Tomorrow will be a lot more exciting. AIDERS are they are what they are. They're cool, they work, they get you high, but just make sure you're in reality of your climbing abilities, because they can get a little sketchy, but it is a great way to maximize your height. Because I always say, when I'm mobilely hunting, I'm a lot lower than a preset. You know, I might only be 15 feet max, 12, 15 feet. So you know, the point is, as I'm mobilely hunting, I'm going lower, but I have the step. So if I get to a spot like a wide open oak flat and I have to get high, I have 8 steps and a knaider swader in my pack. I can get 35 feet, 40 feet with 8 steps if I need it. You know, so I'd rather, again, have them and not need them. They're 11 ounces a piece, under a pound. So to me, it's nothing. That's in the carry bag. They're always with me. So I have the option. You know, normally, again, 12, 15 feet is my climbing height, but I have the option. I can get screaming high if I need to. And then the more steps I have, I just incorporate them more into my climb. So a lot to go over tomorrow. We'll see you there. Remember, code LiveWild24, 20% off the whole site. We never do sales. But we just wanted to have everyone gear up for, instead of doing a spring gear up sale, this is our virtual trade show sale. We had a blast talking to everybody. We went from Pennsylvania all the way out to Iowa, the Iowa Classic, Illinois Deer Classic. It was a good time, but we realized there's a lot to teach out there and a lot of people to educate. So keep tuning in, and we'll get all your questions answered.